Hello and welcome to video 3 on Atlas treatment as a root cause treatment. So basically it's like this. I always do symptom treatment here. I take pain like a painkiller. However, it is important to me that you also get tips from me regarding the root cause treatment for example, your migraine. And in the next 3 videos, I will give you exactly 3 tips that I always give to everyone. Because most problems and illnesses actually have these 3 causes as their root. That's always the case, of course. Most migraine patients say they've tried everything for 30 years. Yes, I believe that, but unfortunately, there is a lot of ignorance or myths in many areas, and I just want to provide a bit of clarification. So very briefly, I'll explain a few important topics. And here, with video 3, the first topic is about the Atlas. For those of you experiencing dizziness, migraine, weather and stress, tinnitus, jaw problems, hip misalignment, leg length discrepancy, muscle tension, herniated discs, sacroiliac joint problems, jaw problems. In short, everything related to your posture often has a common cause. It sits up here, is the first cervical vertebra C, and is called the Atlas vertebra. Unfortunately, in conventional medicine, it is often frowned upon. I would like to briefly explain using my example why I am so obsessed with it and find it so amazing. First, using my example, at some point I always had this point. Anyone who knows this point probably has a hip misalignment, because if you stand up slightly, you'll notice enough pain. So this is an indicator. It could suggest that your hip is misaligned. Then I had knee and hip pain at some point, and I had a herniated disc. Most of these issues actually went away after my Atlas treatment. I would like to briefly explain why. First of all, the Atlas is a stabilizing vertebra. It's like the foundation of a house. It is crooked at the top and now it goes down, in this case, for example, to the hip. That's how it was for me. I had a crooked hip because of the Atlas misalignment. It has to do with the curvature, but that will be explained quite well in a moment. So, as a result, I had a hip misalignment. Logically, if you have a hip misalignment, you have a leg length discrepancy. So, for half of my life, I probably walked with different pressure on each step. And eventually, this caused knee and hip pain. This can lead to sacroiliac joint problems, herniated discs, shoulder and neck issues, muscle problems and headache. If you press here and it feels good, it's because the Atlas, the occipitalis major and the occipitalis minor, that's what these two nerves are called, both come from the Atlas and axis C and C. Here behind the jaw under the ear is your Atlas process. Dizziness and tinnitus can come from there. Behind the jaw, as mentioned, sits the Atlas. This means that the Atlas and the jaw can manipulate each other. Accordingly, jaw problems can originate from the Atlas. Osteopathically speaking, the jaw is the mirror of the hip. Those who have problems here almost always have problems there because the body compensates at these nostalgic points. That's why it's important to get holistic treatment and above all, to get it done correctly. Yes, correctly. Because unfortunately, there are a lot of myths and a lot of botched jobs. I would like to provide a bit of clarification here. First of all, there's a saying I often hear. You only need to get your Atlas adjusted once in your life. Essentially, you should have your Atlas adjusted at least once in your life. But of course, it is a vertebra. If you walk around wrapped in cotton wool, it will stay that way. But any living person can have it slip again. Why is it often misaligned? Probably in my case, since birth. Always keep the child's head nicely supported. What do they do during birth? They pull on the head. These are the babies that cry a lot. Children who can only turn their heads to one side often have an Atlas problem. But this can also happen in everyday life. The classic cases are falls, blows, accidents. Or what is our problem today? We sit for 8 hours in front of the PC. Then we sit for 8 hours in front of the phone. And then we sleep for 8 hours with a dumb pillow in bed. And in the morning we wake up with headaches. How do we put little children to bed? Completely flat, without a pillow, and constantly on their necks. And then we wonder why we have problems. It's usually the Atlas, but it can also happen during surgery, for example, when you are intubated during an operation. The head is hyperextended so that the tongue is not swallowed, and you can be intubated, and for that you get a wedge in your neck, and this wedge is placed exactly on the Atlas. Now it stays there for hours, and depending on what is being operated on, like the knee for example, which is not a delicate procedure, it gets sawed and hammered, and you lie there, and they hammer there, don't shake around, and you have this wedge, and then people open up. I already had a client who said, after my surgery, I had dizziness and tinnitus. Why? These are often the reasons. That's why it's important to get it properly treated. I go for a checkup once a year. Now, there are a few myths, besides the one that you only do it once in your life. Yes, my osteopath, my orthopedist, or my physical therapist always include it. First, physical therapist. There are methods, I swear by physio, they are super great, better than orthopedists. But actually, they are not really allowed to treat it that way because the Atlas should be manipulated in a specific manner. They are only allowed to mobilize and do the manipulation here. If that were possible, however, an accident would be fatal, so it doesn't work. Manipulation is nonsense. A good atlas treatment typically takes around 30 to 60 minutes. This is related to the muscles. They need to be softened, and you should go at least twice, because if the atlas was misaligned and is treated, the muscles tend to pull it back a bit. Personally, I work here with the company Atlantomed. I also have the flyer from 2001, which I have in my hand right now. I have also uploaded it here as a PDF download for you to read. Please don't be surprised. These are the guys in Stuttgart. These are the guys I go to myself, Alex and Marcus. But they are located all over Germany. That means if you go to the Atlantomed homepage, the flyer is always the same and the backside is just different. If you go to the Atlantomed EU homepage, I have linked both the flyer and the link below. You will find an overview. I directly clicked on the therapist's page, 2001. You can check who the nearest Atlas therapist is in your area. They are actually located all over Germany. I can only recommend it, whether it's Atlantomed or another company. This is just an example. There are also other very good companies, but I work very closely with them because Alex and Marcus now know each other very well. Otherwise, check if someone is sitting with you, and above all, read through how they work, because I find the procedure of Atlantomed very good, better than just dropping your head on some kind of block or something like that. Personally, I'm not a fan of that. This was my video number 3 on Atlas treatment as a root cause. You have just seen that there are many causes or many symptoms that can be caused by the Atlas. I hope you enjoy it, and we will continue with video 4 shortly.